Have you ever imagined the height we would attain as a nation if economic and financial crimes become a thing of the past in Nigeria? Just imagine the bliss we will live in terms of economic boost if all crimes are minimized in our society. All crimes affect the economic underdevelopment that we witness today as a nation, most especially economic and financial crimes. Therefore, what are you waiting for? Play your part by joining the EFCC in its crusade to rid Nigeria of corruption. It is the only country we have, and you and I must salvage it. Hello and thanks for joining us on another episode of The Eagle. My name is Aisha Muhammad.
I throw away salute. My name na Abdurrashid Bawa. Na me big oga pata for Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, what would they call EFCC. I want to invite una, make you follow me, kill this problem where we dey for Nigeria called corruption. Now this corruption they chop our future and go chop our children's future. I swear say when everything dey all right, we go see work do, light go dey, our roads go better, our institutions go better, where would they carry go school, our children also go school. Please and please, make you help me, join me, kill this corruption. Together, we go make this country better.
The chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC, Abdurrashid Bawa, has advocated for collective and collaborative approach by authorities around the world in dealing with the challenges of financial crimes, which he noted is a global scourge as no nation is spared its virulence. Bawa's views are contained in a keynote address which he presented at the 38th Cambridge International Symposium on Economic Crime, themed Economic Crime, Who Pays and Who Should Pay, organized by the Center for International Documentation on Organized and Economic Crime, CDOEC, Jesus College, University of Cambridge, United Kingdom. Here are details of this.
Bawa said economic crimes, which are largely illegal acts committed for private gain, affect the vital structures of global economies, causing significant damage to the global financial system and depriving developing nations of the needed resources for sustainable development. He noted that developing countries are not immune from the scourge, which has magnified with the proliferation of cybercrimes which threaten the stability of global financial institutions. The EFCC boss pointed out that new types of economic crimes, such as the growth of cryptocurrencies, portray a far greater danger to the world economy, as criminals now elect to transact or receive illegal monies, such as ransom money for cyber attacks and cryptocurrencies, with Bitcoin and Ethereum as the most commonly used medium of these exchanges. He commended the choice of theme, which he said offers a platform to interrogate the challenges of economic crimes. Bawa stressed that as the victims of crime continue to suffer globally from the effects of financial crimes, either directly or indirectly as part of a social system, the determination of who pays or who should pay becomes a critical measure of the criminal justice system in place. He underlined the imperatives of an impartial judiciary in ensuring that the perpetrators of the acts and not the victims pay for their crimes. The EFCC chairman highlighted some of the transparency and accountability achievements of the Nigerian government under the leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari, to include the enactment and amendment of relevant laws to enhance public accountability and reforms such as Treasury Single Account and the whistleblower policy, among others. He pointed out that the EFCC, as the rallying point in the fight against economic crimes in Nigeria, has recorded important milestones in investigations, prosecutions, and assets recovery. The EFCC boss concluded by challenging participants to come up with practical solutions to curb the international threat of economic crimes. The chairman of the symposium, Saul Frumkin, thanked the EFCC boss for his insightful presentation and the support received from Nigeria in organizing the event. Participants at the symposium were drawn from law enforcement and security agencies, accountability institutions, and select stakeholders from across the world. Ojo Chokutami Eche, reporting for The Eagle.
Justice Lateef Atokunu of the Lagos State High Court sitting in Ikeja has ordered the freezing of the assets and funds belonging to a convicted former managing director of the defunct bank PHB PLC, Francis Atuche, amounting to 19,178,253,050 naira. Here are details of the court proceedings.
The judge gave the order following an ex parte application filed by the EFCC. Investigations in the matter had revealed that the funds were domiciled in 24 different banks in Nigeria. While moving the application, counsel to the EFCC, Kemi Pineru, SAN, had told the court that 15 persons as well as 22 firms in which Atuche has direct and indirect interest were used by Atuche and his co-respondent, a former chief financial officer of the bank, Ugo Anyanwu, to launder the funds. Justice Okunu granted the prayers of the applicant and issued an order restraining Atuche, whether by himself or acting through other persons, including but not limited to his family members or agents, from removing, alienating, disposing of, dealing with, or diminishing the value of assets, proceeds of economic and financial crimes, or otherwise in the name of Atuche, the first defendant. The judge also held that the assets of funds included those held indirectly by or for Atuche's benefit, whether solely or jointly held, that are located in Nigeria or worldwide. Justice Okunu further ordered the freezing of any bank account being run or operated by Atuche personally or jointly, whether in his personal name or otherwise, or with his bank verification number, BVN, in any of the respondent banks, to the tune of over 19,178,253,050 naira, pursuant to the restitution order made by the Honorable Court on June 16, 2021. Atuche and his privies, including his lawyers, were also barred from presenting to the listed banks any mandate or instruction for the withdrawal of any money and/or funds standing to the credit of any of their accounts to the tune of 19,178,253,050 naira. Justice Okunu, who also restrained the banks from honoring any such instruction from Atuche and his privies, set a mandatory order of injunction directing the named respondent banks to file within 48 hours of service of the order on them returns of the statements of accounts of the first defendant, personally or jointly, whether in his personal name or otherwise, or with the bank verification number and the accounts of persons and entities maintained with them. Justice Okunu further directed that the order made against Atuche and his allies, including the companies and assets, be published by way of advertisement in 3 national newspapers. Justice Okunu had in June this year sentenced Atuche to 6 years imprisonment and Anyanwu to 4 years for stealing and conspiracy to steal to the tune of over 19 billion naira. The judge, while sentencing the duo, had ordered them to make a restitution of the sum of over 19 billion naira to the federal government to replace the funds stolen from the public to bail out the bank. Ojo Chokutami Eche, reporting for The Eagle.
We all know the importance of the youth in shaping society and having a better future. Therefore, their role in anti-corruption fight can never be overemphasized. The EFCC, as usual, is engaging youth corps members in all NYSC orientation camps to educate them on ills of economic and financial crimes in Nigeria and ways they can own and participate in the crusade so we all have a better Nigeria. Here are details.
The chairman, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Abdurrashid Bawa, has enjoined corps members to make integrity and dedication to work their watchword, saying that the harsh economic situation in the country is not a license for anyone to engage in crime. Bawa stated this in an orientation message to members of the Batch B Stream 11 corps members across the Federation. Bawa, who spoke through the head public interface, Tony Orilade, on the role of youth in curbing corruption at the NYC orientation camp Kubwa Abuja, described youths as critical stakeholders in the fight against economic and financial crimes. He said the youths are critical stakeholders in the anti-corruption fight, stressing that apart from the fact that they are considered as the leaders of tomorrow, most economic crimes, especially cybercrimes, are committed by young people. He charged the core members to become whistleblowers anywhere they find themselves, especially in their places of primary assignment, stating that they can blow the whistle by reporting acts that fail the simple test of integrity instead of lamenting that things are not right with the country. Also speaking at the orientation camp in Iyanokbaja, Lagos, Bawa, who was represented by the head Public Affairs Department, Lagos Zonal Command, Ayo Oyewole, reminded the youth that there is no shortcut to wealth and fame. He said that a high rate of unemployment should not be an excuse to resort to crimes. At the Ekiti State Permanent Orientation Camp in Ishe Mure Orung Ekiti, Ayodele Babatunde, the head of Public Affairs Department, who described corruption as a malignant cancer that must be vigorously fought to a standstill, thanked the NYSC for giving the Commission the opportunity to impact the core members. Meanwhile, at the orientation camp in Okada, Edo State, Head Public Affairs Benin Zonal Command, Williams Osegali, who presented the executive chairman's message, urged the core members to partner with the Commission by joining the EFCC Anti-Corruption Community Development Group. Similar messages were presented at the orientation camps in Iseleuku, Delta State, Noagbam, River State, Kefi, Nasarawa State, Ogu, Enugu State, Isheyin, Oyo State, Kaduna, Kaduna State, and Gombe, Gombe State. Ojo Chokutami Eche, reporting for The Eagle.
How does bank fraud happen? How is the EFCC fighting to bring it down on its knees? What should you do to keep your money safe in the bank? Answers in the interview segment with the second-in-command bank fraud section of the EFCC headquarters, Williams Abarakweche Chukwu, which Ojo Chokutami Eche conducted. Enjoy the interview.
Bank fraud, to appreciate that word, it will be proper to distinguish the two words, key words. Talk about bank and fraud. Bank, in a single term, is a financial institution that is licensed to receive deposits and make loans. And this in several times. It includes retails, commercial and investment banks. And in most countries, banks have been regulated by national government or the central bank. Having said that, fraud itself is any act that is perpetrated to prevent someone from having what is entitled to or would have been entitled to. Or it's an act of deception carried out deliberately by any person with intention to gain some advantage dishonestly. That is fraud for you. Then talking about bank fraud. Bank fraud itself is the use of potentially illegal means to obtain something from another person through dishonest act. That is bank fraud for you. It's a process of trying to obtain something illegally from another person with intention to gain some advantage dishonestly. Bank, like I told you, is an integral part of the society.
Is it about gaining, maybe in a bank, maybe the environment should be a bank where someone tries to obtain something dishonestly from another person in the premises of a bank?
Okay, to appreciate this better, Like I told you, that bank is a financial institution that is licensed to receive deposits and make loans. And bank is not, an island. It's an integral part of the society. And whatever that affects the banks affects the environment. So, bank fraud here has to do with any act that is dishonestly perpetrated with the attempt to obtain money from the bank.
Okay. Obtain money from the bank.
Yes.
Okay.
It could be either electronically or, as far as the offense itself affects the bank.
Must it be just the bank? Is it possible? Is there no likelihood that a customer of a bank could be illegally, dishonestly defrauded?
Definitely, the customers, like a bank itself, provide a lot of services to both individuals and the corporate organizations, and we cannot do without banks. So most money, public funds that are being laundered in the bank or deposited in banks, is owned by individuals. So when you have whenever there's an illegal access to the customers, the deposits,
whether by the customer or bank officials, it is bank fraud. Now, how can we detect bank fraud in a bank? How can we detect fraud in a bank?
Okay, there are several ways in which we can detect fraud in the banks. There is this internal, there is external, and there is a mixed. What I mean by internal, most fraud that have been perpetrated in the banks, at times there is an insider abuse where the staff of the banks indulge in fraudulent acts, either by involving in an electronic fraudulent transfer of people's money. That is when it is involved in a bank. The bank officials should endeavor to carry out a routine check on all their customers in an attempt to carry out the due diligence. Over the time we discover that they don't take that aspect very, very seriously, there is need for them to update the account holder's contact address in case of any fraudulent activities reported. Then they are also advised to declare their assets and also make sure that they don't involve in fraudulent activities. And we observe that most of the successful fraudulent activities, we see bank officials either directly or indirectly involved, and they have been warned to desist from such acts, that they will not take it kindly whenever any of them is found wanting. Then the members of the public too are advised to exercise caution, not to expose their bank details, especially the passwords. You should be careful with the kind of people they relate with. There are a lot of new trends in these fraudulent activities. There's this issue of love scam. We have employment scam. So many people will come to you to tell you that you should bring so amount, they are going to give you, employment. Most of this issue are not real. Members of the public are warned to be careful not to give out money. At any point in time, somebody come to them to ask them to give money that they are going to help them to secure employment or contract, as the case may be. So, members of the public have been warned through television, radio, that bank don't advise them to give out their account details to any but for any reason. So whatever transaction they have to do with the bank, they should walk down to the bank, don't receive any call to give them their account details. These are some of the ways these fraudsters can electronically gain illegal access to their accounts, and before you know it, the whole money there will be, taken away.
Bank fraud is the use of potentially illegal means to obtain money, assets, or other property owned or held by a financial institution, or to obtain money from depositors by fraudulently posing as a bank or other financial institution. In many instances, bank fraud is a criminal offense. While the specific elements of particular banking fraud laws vary depending on jurisdictions, the term bank fraud applies to actions that employ a scheme or artifice as opposed to bank robbery or theft. Here are some tips on protecting your money in the bank.
Destroy private record and statements. Tear up and, if you can, shred credit card statements and other documents that contain private financial information. 2. If you can help it, do not carry the card to the bank account that holds the bulk of your money around. If you lose a card, report to your financial institution immediately to block the card. It is also a good idea to limit the number of credit cards you carry in your wallet, so that if the wallet is stolen, you can minimize the impact. 3. Use alerts. Many financial institutions will text or email you when transactions are made on your account. Sign up for alerts so that you will know when and where your credit cards are being used, and when there are withdrawals and deposits to your financial accounts, and more. 4. Do not leave a paper trail. Never leave ATM, credit cards, or bank transaction receipts behind. Do not give another person your credit card to use. Try as much as possible to always use your card by yourself. And where this is not possible, pay with cash. 6. Know who you are dealing with. Better still, go to your financial institution or the company contacting you to be sure it's them. 7. Protect your devices with a very strong password. Not having a password on your device is like leaving your home with the doors wide open. If the device falls into the wrong hands, your private data stored on the device will be easily accessible. And do not use the same password for all your electronic devices and key financial accounts. 8. Also, use authentication steps. Do not rely on security questions to keep your accounts safe. For example, your mother's maiden name and your pet's name are not hard to find. And also think carefully about what you post on the social media, so you don't give away clues about how you answer your security questions. 9. Watch out for phishing attempts. Avoid clicking on suspicious links in any email or text messages sent to you. Identity thieves use email and websites that look like they are coming from your financial institutions to trick you into entering your account information or private data. It is better you don't click on them at all. 10. Never give out personal information over the phone. Fraudsters may regularly pose as a bank or credit card company employee over the phone. The fact is, no legitimate organization will call you and ask you for your personal details over the phone. 11. Check your account reports regularly. If you can spot something suspicious early, such as an unfamiliar account on your report, you can take action to address it quickly and stop the situation from getting worse. 12. Be careful with online purchases. When using a credit card to make a purchase online, look for HTTPS at the beginning of the URL. Taking a few minutes to make sure the website is safe can prevent a lot of headaches in the future. And lastly, on the tip corner today, keep important documents like financial cards, passports, birth certificates, extra checks, copies of your health insurance, and a printed page of your important passwords in a safe place. And make sure to keep the storage place very safe. Otherwise, a thief can take it with him.
Well, as citizens of this great country, Nigeria, we must be on the alert at all times, report suspicious activities to the EFCC or other law enforcement agencies, and follow the tips given to avoid being a victim. And that's how we end today's episode of The Eagle. Do not forget, for matters relating to economic and financial crimes, please send an email to info@efcc.gov.ng. And to speak to our officers, you can call 0809 3322 644 and follow us on all our social media platforms at Official EFCC. If you see fraud happening, use the EFCC mobile app, The Eagle Eye. Download the app, follow the steps, and report fraud on the go. You can also take pictures of corrupt practices and upload them. My name is Aisha Muhammad. I leave you with these parting words from Melissa Bean, which says, social security, bank account, and credit card numbers are not just data. In the wrong hands, they can wipe out someone's life savings, wreck their credit, and cause financial ruin. Goodbye. God bless Nigeria. Please stay safe and be kind to one another.